Hi everybody, I'm KHOU 11 meteorologist Pat Cavlin here with an update on the winter storm that's starting to move across the Houston area. Starting here with a live look of what I believe is 99. Just switched up on me, not sure where this one is, but you just saw in that shot there the roadway covered in sleet and ice. You can also see this overpass here totally covered in that white, also indicating sleet, which are just ice pellets, and some snow. So the overpasses, which we always talk about here in Southeast Texas, are getting covered first. The reason why overpasses tend to get accumulations faster is because since there's nothing underneath them, they're allowed to lose heat a lot faster, so they drop below freezing. The surface temperature of these overpasses will drop below freezing faster than the actual roadways that are attached to the warm ground, and so you get the accumulation of sleet and snow on these surfaces first. So a great example of that here, you can see the roadway in this shot is still wet, but that overpass is sleet covered. Now we switch over to the Gulf freeway camera here, and you can see again more overpasses which look wet, but if you can squint and look hard enough there at the shoulders, you can see a little bit of white indicating some sleet and ice accumulation there on the shoulder of these roads. So far across the area, we have seen a mix of sleet, snow, and freezing rain. Nothing really showing us pure snow at this point, except for areas far north of the city, even beyond Conroe. That's where we're starting to get some pure snow finally. But live look here, this is out towards Allen Parkway. No, excuse me, Memorial Parkway. This is from St. Thomas High School in Rice Military, and you can see very faintly there in the street lights some of that mixed precipitation, sleet and rain falling. The ground is wet, but there's no ice accumulation yet. I say that because air temperatures are now below freezing. We're at 31 degrees at Intercontinental. We're getting down below freezing in the city now as well, and with the wind, oh, it's brutal. It feels like 23 degrees outside. So these are the temperatures right now in the loop. Rice Military, that camera shot there, 31 degrees. 28 for Edo, 31 at NRG, 31 for Jersey Village, and at the airport, actually both airports right now, 31 degrees. We're at 30 in Tomball, Humble, and Baytown. But then as we widen out, look at this, already 29 for Huntsville, 29 for Conroe, 28 in Cleveland. So we are starting to see more upper 20s on the map, especially north of I-10. South of the interstate, we're at 31 for Sugar Land, Wharton, and Hobby. So now starting to see temperatures drop below freezing south of I-10. Still above freezing, though, for Galveston, Angleton, and Palacios. But by morning, everybody drops below freezing. Winter storm warnings in the pink for all of Southeast Texas. Not just us, though. Check this out. From the U.S.-Mexico border all the way up towards Charleston, South Carolina. That's nearly 1,300 continuous miles of winter storm warnings, and that does include the beaches of the Florida Panhandle. Here's radar, and it is busy right now. There's a lot of color on this map. The big predominant color, though, that's jumping out off the screen at us is blue. That blue would typically indicate snow. The darker the blue, the heavier the snow. The problem is we're not really seeing snow across most of the area yet. So what you're looking at is the radar using a bunch of equations to guess the precipitation that's falling from the sky. And because the temperatures are cold, the radar thinks it's snow. That's not the case, though. We're seeing a lot of mixing happening. So there are ice pellets, there's rain. There is some snow falling out there, especially, again, well north of the city. But right now, this looks a lot worse than it actually is in terms of snowfall. So the reason why we're getting all this dark blue on the map is because those other precipitation types, rain and ice pellets, those are a lot more solid than fluffy snowflakes. So when we see that on the radar, it shows up as a brighter and a heavier form of precip. Really complicated, but just trying to give you the behind the scenes of the science. So we get into Harris County, you can see it's waves off and on of sleet and snow mixed. I do think we're actually seeing more in the way of snow for places like Cleveland, Conroe, as you get into Washington, Austin, and Colorado counties. And then down to the coast, we've been fairly quiet so far, but freezing rain and sleet now starting to become an issue for Matagorda and Brazoria counties, back into Wharton County as well. Galveston, you're just seeing plain rain right now mixed in with some sleet, maybe a couple of wet snowflakes, but that's how things stand at the moment on radar. As we widen out, you can see there is no shortage of moisture that's coming in with this. So we've got cold air rushing in from the north. That cold air is eventually going to meet up with moisture that's coming in from the Gulf of Mexico. That's all streaming in from the south. And as that moisture overruns that colder air, eventually it falls through cold air and it freezes, and that's where you get that snow. So we have this fire hose of moisture coming in from the south as an area of low pressure develops down here by Brownsville. So that low is eventually going to make its way up the coast as we get into tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon. So we got a long way to go with this storm. It's just beginning. So here's a look at future track. We stopped the clock 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning. All of the blue on the map there indicates, again, that snow moving through the area. The darker the blue, the heavier that snow is. Still some mixed precipitation happening down through Brazoria and Matagorda counties well into the morning, 3, 4 a.m. We could probably still see some mixing down there. Meanwhile, we eventually go over to all plain snow along I-10. This continues to pick up in intensity and coverage through the morning hours, 4, 5, 6 o'clock. Notice that line of pink starts to get thinner at the coast until eventually it becomes all blue. And then we're seeing all snow for the beaches, including the city of Galveston. By 8 to 9 o'clock in the morning, watch what's happening though. The back edge of this is already clearing through places like Huntsville, Conroe, the Woodlands, Brenham. This is going to be a pretty fast ending system. I think by mid-morning the snow is already out of the city. We still hang on to it though in places like Galveston through about 10 and 11 a.m. But even there, everything wraps up by noon and the sun starts to break out, and that will help to melt some of this snow, especially off of the roadways. The problem though is that temperatures drop again big time Tuesday night to Wednesday, so everything that melts will refreeze into a really hard sheet of ice. So these are the totals that we're thinking right now. We're still going with the forecast of 3 to 5 inches for the city of Houston, for Galveston, Fort Bend County, Montgomery County. Points east, those totals go up along I-10 into Louisiana. The farther west you go, still impressive totals, 2, 3, maybe close to 4 inches of snow in some of these spots. But I do think with more mixing with sleet and freezing rain, this area will see those totals back closer to the 2 and 3 inch range, where as we turn over to snow a little faster through the city of Houston, up through Montgomery County, and again, points to the east, we could see those totals go a little bit higher. Here's the bottom line. This will be a crippling storm for the area. Not a repeat of 2021, but just crippling in the sense that travel is going to come to a halt. Roadways will be very dangerous to near impassable in a few spots. Air travel stopped at midnight tonight. Airports won't reopen for a while. And if that weren't enough, once the storm gets out of here, extreme cold settles in for tomorrow night. And by the time we get to Wednesday morning, we could be seeing temperatures in the teens, widespread across a good part of southeast Texas. That is dangerous cold, and again, that will freeze everything. Even if the roads are treated with that salt, these temperatures are cold enough that it actually may overtake the melting power of some of that brine and salt solution on the roads. So a long way to go. Things are just starting to ramp up across the area. Make sure that you're hunkered down and staying home until at least Wednesday, and we're going to have more updates coming up for you here within the next hour.